What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, aka Sinister Moon, back at you with another episode of Shooting the Shit Saturdays. I just got off work, threw on a hat, because why the fuck not, right? My hair always looks like shit after wearing a stereo headset all day. So, yeah, it was easier to put on the hat. But anyhow, I missed a couple episodes, and the reason why is because the first one that I missed, I actually did record an episode and I fucking hated it. And it's my fault. I was tired and I ate some edibles and I got so high that I was just like, I stumbled on my words. I had no idea what I was talking about after a while. I felt like I was floating. And so it was good for me, but it made for a really bad episode. And so even though I uploaded it, I decided, hey, this is dog shit. I don't want to show anybody this, and so that's what happened with that. And then I went to go do the next episode, or the next week, or whatever you want to say, and that didn't turn out because I was sick, and I'm still a little bit sick. Like, I still have a runny nose, and every now and then I cough, but I'm over most of it. Like, I was at the point, I was to the point that I was coughing all the time, and my throat hurt really super duper bad. And once I got over the initial throat pain, and then I had laryngitis, and so I could barely talk, and I missed like 3 days of work, and it was just a disaster, man. Like, it started off really bad. Like, it started off with just like a little itty bitty tickle in the throat, just kind of felt a little weird. But I was driving to work one day, and I know most people will probably be like, ooh, that's embarrassing, I don't want to talk about that, but I will, because shit happens. So I'm driving to work, and all of a sudden, I just throw up on myself. And as I throw up on myself, it hits me so abruptly that I shit my pants, like total diarrhea. And so stuff came out this way, stuff came out that way, and it was just awful. And I'm just like, what do I do, you know? And so I pull off into a grocery store, and I basically run to the back to the bathroom, and I'm cleaning myself up, you know, and like I got a bunch of paper towels, and I'm like cleaning up my jacket. And luckily, the shitting my pants part really wasn't that bad. So I was just like, fuck, what do I do, though, you know? And so I called in, and I told them just that. I explained the situation, and I was still in training at the time. My training for my new job lasts a month. And so it was the second to last day of training. And so I called in, and they're totally cool with it. And then the instructor called me and was like, you should go home and get cleaned up and then come in. And there's just no way, because then everything started kicking in, and my stomach hurt really, really super bad. And, you know, every time I tried to get out of bed, like, I just went straight to the bathroom, and every time I tried to get out of the bathroom, like, I just wanted to go back to bed, and it was just really bad. And that's how that cold started, and then the throat got really sore, and I got the cough, and then a couple days into that, like, I couldn't breathe, my nose plugged up on me, and it was just a really bad flu. It definitely made me feel like, it turned me into a baby, that's for sure. Like, and I just, like, basically laid in bed and sulked about it for days, you know. But yeah, it was pretty awful. So I missed 3 days of work, and luckily I had a day off. At the end of that, I went to the doctor twice for it. I had to get 2 doctor's notes and everything, and it was just bad. I didn't have strep, though, which is, you know, lucky me, I didn't have strep, but it was still really bad. But anyhow, so that's what happened with that. And so because I was sick, I didn't put out, you know, Shooting the Shit Saturdays, and I didn't put out any of the Sinister Moons retro reviews. And yeah, that sucks, because I definitely have a lot of games that I'd like to talk about. Especially with the Sinister Moon retro reviews. I have 4 games up in my queue still on my in my Adobe Premiere. And so I got those projects just hanging out, and they're really close to being done. I just need to put my commentary down. But when you can barely talk, that's kind of a problem. But yeah, so moving on from that, we'll go right into the pickup section. So I got this. We talked about it in a previous episode. This is the Intellivision water bottle. And it's not the greatest. It looks cool, but it's not the greatest. And let me explain. So my girlfriend and I went to Target, because that's where they sell them, is at Target. And there was one. And I was like, oh, cool, and I pick it up. And this thing slides out of my hand from about 2.5, 3 feet. And the bottom completely just cracked. And there was this weird hole in it. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to buy one that has a fucking hole in it, regardless of if I did it or not. I don't want it, and so I put it back, and I was like, I asked my girlfriend, I was like, should we go tell somebody about this? And she's like, no, let's just go. And I'm like, okay. But so we went to the other Target in town. There's a normal Target, and then there's Super Target. So we went to Super Target, and they had this one, and so I went ahead and purchased it. It was $12.99, and I got the receipt in it still, but it's really stuck in there. Okay, I can't get it out. It's totally stuck in there. Anyhow, what I'm trying to get at is that after tax and everything, it came to almost $15. And for $15, you can get yourself one hell of a water cup. Much better quality than this. I gotta say, this thing is really cheapy. I don't know if that tells you anything, but it's just really brittle plastic. And, you got your spout up here that clicks into place nicely, but you can just tell it's very cheap plastic. And like I said, I dropped one without any, liquid in it at all, and it, it broke just from 2.5, 3 feet. And it flat out says Intellivision made in China on the bottom, and yeah, it is El Cheapo. And so I would say that if you're like me and you just want anything that says Intellivision on it, then you're already gonna buy one. You probably already have one at home. If you're that kind of person, I couldn't live without it just because it says Intellivision and it has the cool diagram of the controller, which the Intellivision website used to have a poster of this forever ago, and I wanted that poster really bad, and I never did get around to buying that. But yeah, it's a really good looking cup, but it's really cheap. And so if you want a cup that looks cool and you can use on a daily basis for water, I wouldn't buy this because it's going to break on you. Or if you just want a really good water cup, I still wouldn't buy this for that purpose. This is going on my shelf, you know what I mean? This is a collector's item as far as I'm concerned. It's not really, it's functional, but how long will it function is the question. I know that I don't have it in here, but I have a really nice water cup. It's I'm trying to think of who makes it, but it's a insulated water cup, and it's really fancy. They cost $50 or something like that new. I wish I could remember the brand, but I can't. Either way, that's the one that I use 100% of the time because it's made out of metal and hard rubber and plastics and stuff, whereas this is just brittle and not very good. But yeah, so that's my opinion. Like I said, if you want anything and everything that says Intellivision on it, you've probably already purchased it. And if you have, let me know if you agree with my thoughts on this. If you haven't, and you want like a really cool water cup, get something different. Get something made out of metal and hard rubber and stuff like, and then just slap a sticker on it or something, because it's El Cheapo. Honestly, I feel weird holding it right now because I kind of feel like I'm going to drop it and it's just going to shatter into a million plastic pieces. But yeah, I mean, there it is. It looks cool, and I like all the writing on it. Has an Intellivision logo. It says brought to you by Surreal Entertainment 2017, made in China. Do not microwave, hand wash only. Ages 13 plus. But so if you're under 13, don't get this cup because you can't handle it, right? And I mean, honestly, as stupid as it is to have like an age disclaimer on the cup, I kind of believe it because I think me as a 12-year-old would have dropped this instantly because me as a 36-year-old dropped this instantly. So yeah, I can see that. It's a collector's item, guys. Other than that, there weren't any pickups really. I did buy some weed. There's that. This one here is called Persephone. It's an indica. It's 21.81%. It's pretty good. I like it. I bought an ounce, and this is a quarter of the ounce. I haven't opened it yet, as you can see. I opened the other quarter of this one, and it's pretty good. I like it. And then I got a half ounce of a different weed, and I like that one way more. I forget what it's called, but it's really good. Other than that, I cleaned up my Miss Pac-Man joystick. Like, I got a lot of the rust off the top. There's still a little bit, but not enough for me to be upset about. And the inside is clean, and I cleaned up the grommet, I should say, and I haven't put the leaf switches back on yet, but I have them, and I bent them back to where they need to be. And yeah, just this plastic and everything is really clean. And so I'm looking forward to getting this into my arcade cabinet. It's going to kind of sit in between player 1 and player 2, and all three of them are going to be configured through USB encoders or decoders or whatever they're called. And so yeah, it'll be cool. Certain games will be configured to work with this, and certain games will be configured to work with my other joysticks. So yeah, but this is going to be great for Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man, basically any kind of four-way game, so yeah, I'm really excited about it. It feels so good. Like, I mean, it'll feel even better once I get those leaf switches back on there. But I mean, just this alone, just feeling the grommet and everything just feels amazing. Like, and this is what I want. This is what I want in my arcade cabinet. I want it to feel like the real deal, and that's exactly what this is going to do. And so I'm really excited about it. And hopefully I can get over to a fabricator soon so I can have the holes drilled into my control panel. Because I suck at drilling metal. Last time I tried, I totally did a bad job, and I ended up finding a fabricator that would work with me for cheap, because I went to a few places and they were like, yeah, $150, and another place was like, yeah, it's $250 per hour plus if we do this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm not paying $300 for some fucking holes in a piece of metal. And then I tried to do it myself, and I fucked up I totally roasted a couple cold volt bits, because I'm used to drilling into wood, where if you get a more powerful drill, you can go fast and hard, and it just does what you need it to. You drill a little pilot hole, and then you drill a bigger hole, and that's how you work with wood. And so I thought that it needed a more powerful drill, but it turns out what it actually needs is to be cooled down like with water. Some people use like WD-40 or other penetrating oil, and and you want to go slow, and you want it to grip the metal and everything. And so instead of trying to fuck with that again, I'm just gonna let a pro do it. He could. I'm sure my fabricator can bust it out in 10 minutes, and it'll maybe set me back $20 to $40. So totally worth it to me, just to pay the pro with the good tools. Remember those toys, Cool Tools? Cool Tools. Remember that? That's some 80s shit right there. Anyhow, I think that's essentially all for my pickups. When it comes to what I've been playing, right behind me here, I got Pengo going for the Atari 2600, and I gotta say, it's okay for a 2600 game, but it's definitely missing some things from the arcade game that I enjoy, namely the music. And Pengo doesn't really look like a penguin. He looks more like a cardinal. It's kind of weird, but it's decent. For the 2600, I'm gonna say it's okay. And then behind me, I'm actually playing with this emulator for the Dreamcast. It's a TurboGrafx 16 emulator. It's called PCE Cast, and I don't know if this has been continued or discontinued, or if somebody's developing it still. But this particular one, this particular version of this one, I think is like 7-8 years old or something like that, and so it's pretty shitty. You have to put the frame skip, like the automatic frame skip on, and then even then, you're lucky to get 30-40 frames instead of, you want 60. But yeah, so it doesn't work very well. Some games it seems to do alright on, but games that I actually want to play, like Blazing Lasers, no, it doesn't play worth a shit. And so yeah, that's unfortunate, because everything that I play on my Dreamcast, that 480i up on that fucking 21-inch monitor back there, looks amazing. And so it's a letdown that it doesn't play amazing too. But either way, I tried it because one of my friends was like, hey, this is interesting, check this out. And somebody's actually selling this emulator with all the ROMs on Etsy with a printed cover and everything for $20. I was like, oh, dude, you're not going to pay $20 for that, are you? And he's like, I'm thinking about it, since it's all the games. I was like, dude, give me 10 minutes. But then I did it in 8 minutes. In 8 minutes, I was able to download the disk image, which already had the emulator and all the ROMs on it, and burn it, and get it into my Dreamcast with the name that I wrote on it and everything. And so, yeah, I sent him a picture, a few pictures, within 10 minutes, and he's just like, what's that? I was like, dude, that's the thing on Etsy that you wanted to pay $20 for. And he's like, well, what do you think of it since you paid $20 for it? And I was like, dude, I didn't pay $20 for it. You'd have to be a sucker to pay for a 7-8-year-old emulator that doesn't work worth a shit with a bunch of ROMs that you can download for free on the internet. Yeah, don't be stupid, people. And then over here is RoboCop 3 for the Sega Genesis, and this is actually a pretty damn good game. I like this game. I'm a huge RoboCop fan, as some of you know. And you know what's funny about that? The reason why I decided to play this game, so the place that I work, there's a guy there, and I'm going to talk about him, but I'm not going to put his name in the tags or anything like that. But his name is David Packer, and if you watch RoboCop, the first RoboCop flick, after Murphy gets all shot up by Red Foreman and all the villains, and he gets taken into the emergency room, and there's a doctor in that scene that pronounces Murphy dead and everything like that. That's him. That's totally him. And so I think that's super duper cool. And what's funny is I met that guy years and years ago at a picnic kind of thing. Well, not really a picnic necessarily, more like a backyard barbecue. I was dating some chick, and her and I just did not really get along or hit it off. She smoked cigarettes and drank a lot of alcohol, and I don't smoke cigarettes and I don't drink a lot of alcohol. Like, and so it just wasn't very good. And plus, like, she was very into herself. Like, she was very into bragging about how smart she was and how she was the valedictorian of her high school. But she went to a high school that only had, like, I think she said there's like 26 people in her senior class. Like, it was out in the middle of nowhere somewhere. And it's like, oh, so you're smarter than 25 people. Good for you. But she was always bragging about that and talking down to me. And she wasn't very good looking. Had like the saggy tits going on and everything. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not very into you. But her sister worked at a call center that David Packer worked at. And that call center ended up becoming the call center that I work at now. And so I guess David Packer decided to stay there. Why an actor would decide to work in a call center is beyond me. But he's a boss there. Like, he's a team leader, boss kind of guy. And he's seen me and I've seen him. I see him every day, but I have yet to say hi to him, and he has yet to say hi to me. And it sucks because I want to talk to him about RoboCop so bad, but I don't know if he's ignoring me because he doesn't know who the fuck I am and there's no reason to talk to me, or if he remembers who I am and he doesn't want to talk to me as a result of that. Because him and I did smoke quite a bit of pot at that backyard barbecue, and pot or any kind of drug that is federally illegal is against the rules at that company, and you have to take a UA to get through the door. But I actually used fake pee, and it worked just fine. I'm not going to quit smoking weed for some stupid job, that doesn't pay a bunch of money. Like, I mean, if they paid me like $20 an hour or close to that, then I would give up weed for that much, no problem, because that's a lot of money. But yeah, unless it's a lot of money, whatever. I'm going to continue being me. It's legal in this state. I can buy it everywhere, at stores, at, dispensaries. So, whatever. I don't give a shit. Like, what I do in my own home is my business. As long as I'm not high at work, I don't see a problem with it. And I feel the same way about alcohol. Like, I don't really drink anymore. But if you go home or go to the bar after work and you have a few beers or a shot or whatever it may be, whoop-de-doo, just don't drive drunk, please, because that's shitty. That's a shitty thing to do. Nobody should ever drive drunk. That's how a lot of people die. But that's your business if you want to do that. If you want to go home and drink a six-pack, that's your business. You go to work and you're like drinking beer at work, taking shots at work, that's a fucking problem, man. You got a problem, like. But then again, alcoholism is like pretty much the only disease that you can get yelled at for having. And yes, that's a Mitch Hedberg joke if you are familiar with him. He's been dead for a while now, sadly, but he had that joke about that. So look into that. Because look into him if you don't know who Mitch Hedberg is, because he's fucking hilarious. Anyhow, next topic. As far as movies go, I watched this old movie that I had never seen before. It's called Lonely Guy, and it's starring Steve Martin. And it came out around the days that The Jerk came out. And it wasn't very good. It's a pretty mediocre film, and so I can see why I had never seen it before, because, nobody ever talked about it, and it wasn't, like, viewed on TV later or something, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I had no idea that Lonely Guy existed, but it was pretty good. I mean, it had its moments, like, a lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? I keep thinking sketch comedy and sarcasm, but that's not what I'm looking for. Um, fuck, brain's not working. I'm not even stoned, and my brain's not working right now. Probably because I just got off work. But I don't know. Lots of bad humor, like, but not like super bad humor. Just man, what's the word I'm looking for? Not satire. I don't know. It's okay. It's a mediocre film. Like, see it, don't see it. Not gonna matter either way, probably. If you have seen Lonely Guy with Steve Martin, though, tell me what you thought of it. And yeah, I watched RoboCop because of David Packer working where I work, and my girlfriend had never my girlfriend never had seen the original RoboCop. Her and I went and saw the remake, revamp, or whatever you want to call it. We saw that in the theater, and she thought it was great, and I thought it was kind of shit. So yeah, it was important to show her the original. And once she saw the original, she definitely agreed that the original RoboCop kicks the shit out of the new one, So I'm glad she agreed. Excellent flick. I watch it fairly often. As far as TV shows go, we actually have been watching Doogie Howser because she's really into the show How I Met Your Mother, and I was just like, it's funny seeing Barney, because I still think of him as Doogie Howser, and she's like, I've never seen that, and so I was like, alright, so we gotta watch Doogie Howser. So I downloaded 4 seasons of it, and we noticed right away that there's like a lot of pedophile-esque kind of stuff. Like, even from the first episode, an older nurse seduces him, and then tricks him because it's his birthday and it's a surprise, and she totally undoes his scrub pants. Pants fall to the ground, and then the lights come on, and all the doctors, like, it's one of those viewing rooms or whatever, where the doctors can sit up in chairs behind windows and watch other doctors, conduct surgery and whatnot. And so the lights come on after Doogie's pants get dropped. Lights come on, and everyone's like, surprise! But, like, just the whole scene was just like, whoa, lady, you look like you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're seducing this guy that is supposed to be 16 years old, like, or 15, something like 15, 16 years old. And there's other episodes like that, too. Like, there's this one where an older girl wants to sleep with Doogie, and, like, she's basically begging Doogie for some of that Doogie dick, And he's just, like, shrugging her off, and eventually, like, he figures out a way out of it, But it's, like, hard for him, because at the same time, he really wants to fuck, because he's a teenager, and him and his best friend Vinny are always talking about getting laid. Like, if you take out the fact that Doogie is a genius, and that he is a doctor, the rest of the show is essentially about being a teenager and, being horny and living at home with your folks and stuff. And so it's funny to watch the show now, because as a kid, I didn't understand most of that stuff, All I understood is that he kind of looks like a kid, but he's, like, working like an adult. And certain things I found cool. Like, back in the day when that show came out in 1989, he had a computer and like a 19 or a 21-inch TV in his room. That was impressive. In 1989, I was 8 years old, and so that was super impressive to have your own computer and your own TV, your own color TV in your bedroom like that. So yeah, I liked the show back in the day, but now that I'm old enough to understand everything, it's actually pretty hilarious. So yeah, Doogie Howser, check that out if you choose to, Yeah. But yeah, because we watched Doogie Howser, we also had to watch Harold and Kumar. We ended up watching all three of them, especially since the I think it's the third one. Yeah, there's a 3D one, and it's all about Christmas, and so yeah. By the time this video comes out, it's probably going to be Christmas Eve, and then obviously after that it'll be Christmas. And so if you want a good Christmas movie to watch while smoking some weed, you might want to check out that one because it's a pretty good one. I wish we could have watched it in 3D because there's a lot of things that cater to 3D in that movie, but yeah, I don't have that. It is what it is. As far as music goes, I listen to SiriusXM every day, all the time at work, and I listen to it here as well. And of course, I listen to a lot of Howard Stern still. But one album that I did listen to that I've been wanting to listen to is Bob Dylan's newest one. It's called Triplicate, and it's a 3 CD album. And I gotta say, pretty much the whole thing sounds the same. Like it's such a boring album. Bob Dylan never had a good voice, in my opinion. It's his lyrics that are amazing. He's an excellent songwriter, but his voice kind of sucks. But now it's even worse. Like he almost has like a what's the guy I'm thinking of? Shit. I can't think of. I'm having way too many brain farts this episode. Either way, he doesn't sound good. He sounds old, and he sounds bad. And every single one of his songs on this album sound essentially the same. Like they might have a different beginning, or maybe there's less slide guitar going on. But yeah, it essentially all sounds the same. And yeah, it's a letdown. I'm glad I didn't go see him live now. He was in Denver not too long back at Red Rocks, which is a really awesome venue. Last show that I saw at Red Rocks was Faith No More, and that was incredible. It would be nice to see Bob Dylan perform his old hits, Mr. Tambourine Man and Rainy Day Woman and all the Bob Dylan songs. Like there's a lot of really great songs, but if he was performing that new stuff, I would have been so let down. Really great album to fall asleep to, though. I will say that it's very slow, peaceful album. Anyhow, as far as gaming news goes, I wanted to talk about this product that I saw for the ColecoVision. It's made by Dragon Box Shop, and Dragon Box Shop can be found here on YouTube. This is on the internet. They have made this adapter that hooks into the ColecoVision that it basically allows you to power your ColecoVision off a micro USB cable, which I think is amazing because one of if not the leading cause of people thinking that their ColecoVision is broke is the power supply shitting out, because it has like a plus 12 and a negative 12 and a plus 5 and a negative 5 and a ground or something like that. It has like a 12 and 2 5s and a negative, I think. And if one of those fucks up on you, your ColecoVision won't power on. And that happened to me the first time I bought a ColecoVision. I bought it off of Craigslist, and I bought it off the lady. I didn't test it first or nothing, and I got it home. Actually, they brought it to me, and then I took it in, plugged it in, and this thing doesn't work, and I'm really upset. And it's like, oh my god, I paid all this money, and this fucking thing doesn't work, and I'm hitting them up, and they're like, well, it worked when I gave it to you, and I'm just like, well, fuck. But it wasn't a total loss, because I got the Atari module out of the deal, and I got a bunch of games out of the deal, and joystick, or controllers and everything. And the console itself was in good shape, but I ended up buying a different ColecoVision, and it worked just fine and everything. and then I went to AV mod it, and I messed up on something, and I was thinking, oh man, maybe I should, grab this piece off this other one. And then I decided, hey, let's plug it in and just see if it works, and it did. And then I, got the other power adapter and tried it on the one that I just bought, and it didn't work. And so that's how I knew that it actually did work, and it was just the fucking power adapter the whole time. But it ended up working out for me in the long run, because then I had more parts, and I made some money off the extra stuff that I got out of the deal. And so it worked out. It was just, it was shitty at first because, you pay for a working console and then it doesn't work. And you don't even think about, like, hey, maybe I should just try a different power adapter, because they're not exactly common. Like, you could probably go to the game store right now, whichever game store you like to frequent, and you could pick up a Sega Genesis power adapter, or an NES power adapter, or a Super Nintendo power adapter. But finding something like the ColecoVision power adapter doesn't happen too often. They're probably almost as rare as the Intellivision 2 power adapter, which puts out some weird voltage. I think it's like 14.8 or 14.9 or 15.9 or something like that. Either way, you can't just like stick a different power adapter on it and make it work. So either way, that's one more thing. The Atari box. What a joke. So they made it like oh, hey, look, this is our new joystick, and we're really excited about this, and we're gonna have like a Kickstarter, an Indiegogo, or whichever one they're using, I forget. And then they fucking postponed it. And I don't think, I haven't heard anything since. And so, honestly, I think that it's a scam, and I think that they have nothing. Because if they had something, then they would have shown it by now. Like, I still need to see some games. And, yeah, I'd like to have that Atari hat with the speakers in it, but I'm not paying fucking $200 or whatever it is for it. Fuck that. I have plenty of hats, I have plenty of headphones. If anything, I could glue a speaker onto this hat and just wear it like that, right? Like a little Bluetooth speaker or something. So, whatever. Fuck you, Atari. We're not falling for it. But, yeah. Alright, since I didn't get anything to drink this time around, I think we're going to call it good. Thank you for watching, and I hope to have some reviews up very soon. And yeah, I'm gonna go get stoned and drink some Diet Mountain Dew. Later, guys.